Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am back with my European correspondent, Glenn. Welcome back, Glenn.
Jeff, good morning.
Good evening. Good morning. Wait, what is it?
Yeah,
Good morning for you. It is late night for me. It's good to have you back. This is your club race again, and you guys probably are familiar with this course now. You've seen it a couple of times. This is your club course. I'm so jealous that you guys have your own course for your club. How cool is that?
yeah, it's the best. We are in love with this course. Every time in spring when we are letting loose on this course, we're just thrilled.
I don't blame you. I said it before. I want to go out there and race you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, oh, I'd love to. So let's talk about today's race. This is yet another interclub race, so you're going to see a lot of the same jersey, but it's very competitive, and there's sprint points on offer, and then there's also an Omnium leader, and you're going for both, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, why not?
if it's there to grab, then yeah, you gotta go for it. If you got the legs.
Today you have the legs. I haven't watched much of this footage, but you seem to have the legs today. This was an impressive feat. So hang in there, guys. Let's cut forward and let's talk about how this race plays out. All right, Glenn. So we are just like a lap into this race, and there's already a group off the front because you guys are crazy over there in the Netherlands, and you just race hard from the whistle. And you're having a good day. You want to be part of this group. You don't necessarily want to drag the whole peloton with you. Walk us through like how your thought process and how you're going to make that happen.
Yeah, the plan was to ride the brake today, but not force it. So I wanted to get the brake at the front and then bridge across and not tow the whole peloton with me to it. So I just wait for the moment the speed was low in the bunch, and then I could place an attack to bridge across.
And you're doing it from this position I've talked about on my channel quite a number of times. You don't want to attack from the front. It's much easier for people to follow you. What you're going to do here in a second is from like my favorite, like 10th wheel or 12th wheel, is you carry a head of steam past the front riders. There you go. 900 watts, 1200, 1400 watts, Glenn.
Yeah.
All of the watts.
Yeah.
Right past the front riders. And we talked about this a second ago, but like I wouldn't have chosen to do it when the speed was already high. I think that was the only issue that you had.
Yeah, and I think that's the mistake I made because the speed was high in the peloton, and they could chase back to the.
It's harder to get separation when the speed is
Yeah.
already quite high.
Yeah.
But you're having such a good day that it doesn't really matter. You still got separation, and you're still pumping out 1,350, 1,400 watts. So there's the group, and you've made it across. And you're thinking this is looking pretty good. This is looking good to me.
I thought that this was the break, but yeah, the peloton caught up with us, and I think that's because the speed was high at the moment I attacked.
So what do we say? If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Let's let's see how you try the next breakaway. All right, so we're only like a few hundred meters later, and the peloton's in your wheel. You guys have been caught, but something really interesting happens I want to talk about. Look, 0 watts on the hill. This seems like crazy, right? This goes against everything I talk about on my channel. You're letting this gap open up, but there's a method to your madness. Right, Glenn?
Yeah, let him go. I understand that the peloton has chased hard to get the break, and just letting those guys here roll away, that gives me the chance to bridge to it again when the speed is low. And you can see here we are riding 15 miles an hour, so the speed is low, everyone's tired, and here I go again.
Boom!
Just,
hit him again.
Yeah.
I love this. Think about how fast, how fit Glenn is right now. Where he's like, yeah, go ahead, let the brake get away. I'm just gonna bridge to it. That way, it guarantees separation. So this is only a strategy, guys, that works when you are confident and fit. Because the worst thing that you can do is try this and get stuck in no man's land in the middle chasing. So you must have been going real good in this race, Glenn. It shows.
Yeah, I just my best legs of the season, I think. I normalized 380 watts.
380 watts, and you're not a heavy guy either. It's like one of those days we have an expression where you can't feel the chain.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a great day, this.
So you've committed a lot of energy to establish this, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 second gap, and now it's time to immediately fall into rotation and build on it with this group.
Yeah, you have to put your head down and commit.
Okay, so this breakaway's been established, but a few more guys bridged up. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 8 of you guys. which is it was just a little bit too big on a course like this. Is that right?
Yeah, it's too much strung out, and the peloton can see us riding if the group is that big. So it's time to shake the tree and get some riders off the back.
I love that expression. You got to shake the tree a little bit. So you give your buddy up here in front of you, you give him the go, and you're like, hey, just ride really hard.
Yeah, I recognized some guys were on a limit, and you hear them scream, "Not too fast!" And that's the moment I thought my teammate, hit it.
I've always said if your competition doesn't like what you're doing something right.
Yeah, yeah, and
When people yell at you to take a harder pull or to go easier, like always just do the opposite of what your competition
yeah,
is saying,
exactly.
basically.
And that's what's my teammate doing right here.
So, doing a hard fight. I mean, you were doing 500 watts in the draft, and now you're just going to continue on the pressure and make sure those guys, which, by the way, you decided to pile on all this pressure only maybe 200 meters after they caught on the back of the chasing group caught on the back of the breakaway. So
Yeah.
they had no time to rest. So this was really smart. If you want to shake the tree, choose the time wisely.
Yeah, just hit it, and the strongest will be left in the break.
Speaking of strongest, who's this guy right here?
Yeah, this is a strong guy. He's riding the pro peloton over here in Europe, in the Netherlands, and in Belgium. He's a former European cyclocross champion with the juniors. So this is talent.
So unfortunately, he's made the split, but so have you, and so have two other guys, I believe, right? Let's
Yeah, we're in a group of 5.
Yeah, but this is looking better now. The 5 is the right number for the breakaway. So let's fast forward once again and maybe see how the first sprint plays out. Because remember, guys, we have sprint points on offer too. All right, we are approaching the first of 2 sprint points. You're chasing everything you said at the beginning. So you're going for these sprint points, Glenn.
Yeah, I also recognized the guy in front of me, the European champion, wasn't in all the races. So he wasn't sprinting with me, and I just thought, why not?
Well, this is interesting. You went really early, and part of that is probably because you're just having one of those great days, but also you were kind of out of position on the front, and you don't know if any of these guys are going to be contesting you for the sprint points, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I just tested what they are gonna do when I just stood up and sprinted, but nobody reacted.
So perfect. So you might not have to go too crazy on the next one either, but you never know. People might get sneaky and try to take the next sprint point from you too, right?
One guy actually sprinted with me, but he came from last place in the break, so he wasn't that much of a threat.
All right, a few kilometers later, you guys have been rotating really well together, except one notable who's been missing turns.
Yeah, this guy is a junior. It's good that he's on a break. But usually they are more inexperienced tactic-wise and are a bit slimmer. So I try to educate them and force them into rotation.
Yeah, and you did one of my favorites right there. We call it taking him off the back. So he's on your wheel. He's refusing to pull through. And you decided, well, if you're not going to be rotating, then I'm going to stop rotating, and you just let the gap open up. You force him to close that gap. It hurts you a little bit, but it hurts him a little bit more, and it kind of reminds him, hey, you have an obligation in this breakaway, whether or not you're a junior, to rotate with us and to take pulls.
Yeah, and you saw he reacted immediately, so he understands the game, and he took the responsibility.
Cool. All right, another sprint point coming up in a couple of laps. Let's check that out. All right, we are quickly approaching the second and final sprint competition in this race, and you're going to take the front again really early. And what does that mean for you, other than just you're being incredibly fit this time of year?
Yeah, maybe he's a bit insecure, but if you the guy here right of me, he contested me also, and I thought I just attack him in the corner and let's see what happens. If he got the legs, for a second kick, as I had this day, I was confident enough I could beat him in a sprint, and well, he didn't really react. So the points were in this case again for me.
Okay, so your competition, the guy who was trying to take the points away from you, he was on front. So there was a reason that you went this early, because this one was even earlier. That was like a 350 meter sprint. But But you were trying to catch that guy out of position. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I forced him to react on if he wanted to contest me for the point sprints. Forced him to react on my attack.
Smart. Another 5 points.
Yes.
All right, Glenn. So we are 3 kilometers from the finish now, right towards the end of the race, and still in this breakaway, still rotating nicely, but the speed hasn't quite been high enough. And you look back, if we had a rear cam, it would show the thing that you're probably dreading the most right now, and that's a chasing peloton. Walk us through what's going on.
Yeah, the speed hasn't been high enough, and I felt partly the responsibility because I challenged the sprint points. So here I take the responsibility to up the speed from the break, and let's see to my brake mates that I'm committed and willing to get this break to the finish. So here I'm just taking a really hard pull.
Look at the bottom left, you guys. Look at the power, 500, and just look how long it stays, at like over 400. So this isn't meant to, like you said, Glenn, this isn't meant to drop your brake mates, right? This is just to inject speed and to turn your maybe 10 or 15 second gap at this point back into like a 25, 30 second gap that you can hold to the finish. Is that right?
Yeah, and encourage the peloton to chase, because they will be chasing hard, and if they see we were upping the speed again, then the motivation goes out of the peloton.
It is pretty amazing, how quickly a gap can open up. If a group loses its motivation, say they're discouraged by you dropping 500 watts for 40 seconds, it's pretty amazing how quickly that gap can just open right back up. So I think this was a good idea. In hindsight, it's always a good idea to be like, yeah, I should have taken a harder pull on the front. But the timing of this, I can appreciate, because this isn't 1 kilometer to go; it's 3 kilometers to go. So you can still, presumably, rest up and still pop off a good sprint.
Yeah, and if the peloton catch you, yeah, then it's gonna be a bunch sprint, and I don't know if I can win from the bunch sprint. So it's just a bit all or nothing, and let my brake mates see I'm committed to getting this break to the finish, and it worked.
and right when you finish your monster pull, you face the hill, which it's got to be so rough, but you somehow recovered in like 5 seconds. So
yeah.
Just going good, man. Just one of those days, and you're able to even hit the front again and just make sure that you guys are opening that gap. Because like you said, I think that's an important point that you made that I kind of glossed over, which is you're committed to this breakaway staying away. I think a lot of people, especially new to the sport, think like, oh, okay, well, you're in front. Just sit up, let yourself get caught by the peloton. But that's a mistake, because there's going to be somebody in the peloton who is fresher, who's been sitting in, and doing a bunch sprint after spending the majority of this race in the breakaway is not a good plan for winning this race.
No, there's just fast guys in the peloton who didn't do too much, and they are gonna beat you in sprint, especially me, because I'm not a pure sprinter. So I got to make sure this break goes to the finish.
And now this is last lap. I mean, it's been a last lap for a while. We're 1 kilometer to go. Are you starting to think about your position right now? Are there certain guys you're looking out for in this position?
Yeah, I didn't know the capabilities of the former European champion. I knew he was fast, but I didn't know. So I just took initiative and rode for my own chances, and just look how the dynamics of the race were.
Able to rest a little bit on this downhill, and then you find yourself at the front. But it's like now or never, I guess. I mean, this is another 600 meters to go attack. And were you able to get separation right here? Did you have a gap?
Yeah, the speed was low, and I just hit the gas, and look what happened. I got separation about 3 or 4 seconds, but it wasn't enough, and they chased me. I got on the front right here. It was the worst possible spot to be in.
So are they back on your wheel right now? 200 meters to go. They're back on your wheel.
Yeah.
But little do they know, you got round 2 in your legs, over 1,000 watts again.
It's just one of those magical days.
Hit him with the 1-2, and you eke out the win, but it wasn't by much.
It was very
close.
It was
pretty close.
It was very close.
But you cleaned up everything, man. Congrats on the win. You won both sprints too, so what a day.
Yeah, it was one of my best days this season.
So when I come race against you guys, I'm gonna have to coordinate it with you when you're like, I need to wait until you're not so fit.
Yeah.
That's when I need to come, because I don't know if I can sit at 500 watts behind you like that. That's a little bit much for me. So let's do this again, man. I had a lot of fun. It's always fun doing these commentaries with you and getting a different perspective. So thanks again for being on the channel, Glenn.
Yeah, it was fun.